Trump's explosive 60 Minutes interview shakes America. The truth you weren't told. It was a calm Sunday evening, until the moment 60 Minutes started. Millions of Americans tuned in, not to watch a movie or a football game, but to watch Donald Trump. For the first time in years, Trump sat down for a full 90-minute interview on the legendary CBS program, 60 Minutes. And what followed was part interview, part confrontation, and part political theater. This wasn't just any talk show appearance. This was Donald Trump's return to the stage he once called fake news television. It was the same network he had sued, the same producers who once cut his interview short back in 2020, and the same journalists who spent years questioning his every move. So when the cameras rolled at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's luxurious Florida estate, the air was already thick with tension. Golden lights, American flags behind him, and Trump himself, calm, smiling, but ready for a fight. The interviewer this time was Norah O'Donnell, known for her direct, professional, and fearless questioning style. And right from the start, she went straight to the point. Mr. Trump, do you still believe the 2020 election was stolen? There was a moment of silence, just for a heartbeat, and then Trump leaned forward and replied, I don't believe it was stolen. I know it was stolen. That single line set social media on fire within minutes. A Trump on 60 Minutes started trending worldwide. Supporters flooded X and Truth Social saying, he's speaking the truth again, while critics called it a dangerous repeat of old lies. But Trump didn't care. He was there to take control of the narrative. Again. Then came the next round of questions. Immigration, economy, foreign policy, and his rumored back-channel talks with world leaders. When asked about his stance on immigration raids, Trump's voice hardened. They haven't gone far enough. America deserves borders, not chaos. That quote alone sent shockwaves through Washington. Political commentators immediately jumped in, saying his tone was presidential yet provocative. But others saw it as a warning, a preview of what a second Trump term could look like. The most jaw-dropping moment came when Norah asked about China. You've mentioned a secret understanding with President Xi. What does that mean? Trump smiled, that signature confident smirk that's now practically a meme, and said, let's just say, we talked about things nobody else could handle. It's an understanding that keeps both sides happy. The internet went wild. Was Trump hinting at a secret trade deal? A diplomatic back-channel? Or was he just being theatrical as always? Analysts still can't decide, but one thing's certain. Trump knows exactly how to keep people guessing. Then, halfway through the interview, Trump shifted gears, from global politics to personal reflection. He talked about his time in office, the constant media attacks, the lawsuits, and even his own party's betrayal. They thought they could silence me with fake charges, with lawsuits, with media bias. But here I am, sitting in front of the same camera, stronger than ever. That line alone got a standing ovation online. In conservative circles, it was hailed as a comeback declaration. For others, it was another example of Trump's unstoppable ego. But whether you love him or hate him, you were watching. And that's exactly what Trump wanted. One particularly tense exchange came when Norah asked, Mr. Trump, do you take any responsibility for the division in America today? Then, with a colder, quieter tone than before, he said, the division didn't start with me. It started when people forgot what America stands for. It was surprisingly calm, almost presidential, and for a brief moment, you could sense the room shift. Even Norah O'Donnell looked taken aback. As the interview neared its final stretch, Norah pressed him about 2024. Will you accept the results if you lose? Trump laughed lightly and said, if it's fair, sure. But if it looks like 2020 again, we'll fight. And this time we'll win. Another viral moment. Within minutes, every major news outlet picked it up. CNN called it a warning shot. Fox News called it a promise. The interview ended the same way it began, with intensity. Trump stood up, shook Nora's hand, and before walking off, turned back to the camera. You can edit the footage, but you can't edit the truth. And just like that, Trump left the room, leaving behind 90 minutes of political fire and a million questions echoing in viewers' minds. In the hours that followed, the internet exploded. YouTube clips of the interview racked up millions of views. Political analysts dissected every word, and ordinary Americans debated whether Trump had redeemed himself or reignited old chaos. But one thing's clear: no one commands attention like Donald Trump. He may have been gone from the White House, but with that 60 Minutes interview, he reminded the world that he's still the biggest show in American politics.
Agencies say the Chinese have infiltrated parts of the American power grid and our water systems. They steal American intellectual property and Americans' personal information. They bought American farmland. How big of a threat is China?
It's like everybody else. We're a threat to them, too. Many of the things that you say, we do to them. Look, this is a very competitive world, especially when it comes to China and the U.S., and we're always watching them, and they're always watching us. In the meantime, I think we get along very well, and I think I think we can be bigger, better, and stronger by working with them as opposed to just knocking them out. The economy, they can produce things that we don't want to produce because it's not really worth our while. Making undergarments, making this, certain things.
Trump on 60 Minutes, we heard it. Now tell us, what do you think? Today we're talking about a big, widely watched TV moment. Donald Trump's 90-minute interview on 60 Minutes. It aired recently, and the reaction has been huge. But rather than telling you what to think, today we want to hear your perspective, calmly, respectfully, and honestly. Quick recap for anyone who missed it. Trump sat down with 60 Minutes for nearly an hour and a half at his Mar-a-Lago estate. The conversation covered a lot, from foreign policy and China to immigration, media criticism, and his reflections on recent legal battles. There were tense moments, surprising lines, and sound bites that have been replayed across social platforms. Here are a few neutral highlights, just the facts, so we can all discuss calmly. He spoke directly about immigration and said he believed the U.S. should have stricter enforcement. On foreign policy, he hinted at private conversations with world leaders and used some ambiguous language that many found newsworthy. He addressed his past legal confrontations and framed the interview as a chance to set the record straight. And at several points he criticized the media and their coverage of him. Those were the major topics. No judgment, just the headlines. Why does an interview like this matter? First, 60 Minutes is one of the most watched interview shows in America, so his words reached millions. Second, the timing matters. This appearance can influence public conversation, voter opinions, and how media organizations frame the next news cycle. And third, interviews like this often shift the topic away from policy details to tone and framing. Now let's be fair. Different people heard very different things. Some viewers reacted positively. They said Trump was candid, presidential, and unafraid to say what he believes. For them, it was a strong, confident performance. Others were alarmed by certain lines and worried about the tone or implications for policy. And there are many viewers who felt the interview raised more questions than it answered. All three reactions are understandable. And they're a good reminder that public conversations are complicated. Here are a few neutral questions to consider when you form your opinion. Did the interview provide new, verifiable facts, or more rhetoric and framing? Were any claims supported by evidence in the moment, or did viewers need to wait for verification? How much should an interview with a major figure influence public opinion relative to other sources of information? Thinking in questions like these helps us move beyond headlines and toward clearer understanding. Okay, now we'd love to hear from you. Please keep it respectful. Here are a few prompts you can choose from in the comments. What moment from the interview stuck with you the most, and why? Did anything he said change your view of him? And if so, how? How much weight do you give TV interviews compared to news reports or official documents? Pick one prompt or answer all three. We read every thoughtful comment and pin the best replies. A quick note about the comments. We welcome strong opinions, but we do not accept personal attacks, hate speech, or threats. Our goal is community discussion, civil, curious, and informative. If you disagree, that's fine. Argue the ideas, not the person. To wrap up, Trump's 60 Minutes interview was big, and it will stay in the news for days. But real understanding comes from listening, checking facts, and sharing perspectives. So tell us, in the comments below, what you thought and why. We'll compile the most interesting answers and feature them in our follow-up video. If you liked this format, calm, curious, and audience-led, give this video a like and subscribe. And if you want us to dig into specific claims from the interview, say the word and we'll do the research. From all of us at FameFlash, thanks for watching. We believe conversations are better when they're honest and kind. So drop your thoughts below, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.